If you take a calcium supplement for your bones, there's a real chance it is going somewhere you never intended. Not your bones, your arteries. The pill you swallow every morning to stay strong may be quietly hardening the very blood vessels around your heart. Caltrate, Citracol, OS-Cal. Yours might be on this list. Number 8 is the mistake almost everyone over 60 makes. We checked 3 things on every brand: where the calcium actually ends up, whether your body can absorb it, and whether it carries the one partner that keeps it out of your arteries. Let us start. Number 8, the high-dose bottles that send calcium everywhere but your bones. This is the one almost nobody's warned about, and it is the most important. Your body does not automatically send swallowed calcium to your skeleton. It needs help directing it. When you flood your bloodstream with a big dose all at once, and the traffic signals are missing, that extra calcium has to go somewhere. A large 10-year study following older adults found that high calcium from supplements, not from food, was linked to more buildup in the arteries around the heart. Food calcium did the opposite. It protected. So the milligrams on the pill were never the real question. What matters is whether your body files that calcium into bone or leaves it to settle in the walls of your heart. Number 7, the megadose 1200 milligram bottles taken all at once. Stay with me because this one feels responsible and quietly backfires. The label says 1200 milligrams. You are over 60, so more sounds safer. Here's what the research actually shows. Your body can only absorb around 500 milligrams of calcium at a time. If you swallow a giant dose in one tablet, most of it cannot be used. It spikes your blood calcium and then gets dumped, some into your kidneys as stones, some into soft tissue. Worse, going past about 1,000 milligrams a day from supplements is exactly where the heart risk starts to climb. The big number is not buying you stronger bones. It is buying you a spike your body has to scramble to clean up. The smarter move is to split calcium into smaller doses across the day, around 500 milligrams at a time, so your body can actually use each one instead of dumping the excess. The giant single tablet does the opposite of what it promises. More calcium in the bottle does not mean more calcium in your skeleton. Number 6, the plain calcium bottles with no vitamin K2. This is the real robbery, and it hides in what the label leaves out. There is a vitamin that acts like a traffic cop for calcium. It is called vitamin K2. Its entire job is to activate the protein that pulls calcium into your bones and the protein that blocks calcium from sticking to your arteries. Without K2, calcium wanders. You might think any bottle that says calcium plus vitamin D has you covered. That is exactly the trap. Vitamin D helps you absorb calcium into your blood, but it does nothing to tell that calcium where to go once it is there. Only K2 does that. The cheap bottles include D, skip K2 entirely, and quietly leave out the one ingredient that decides whether your money builds bone or builds plaque. So it was never really about the calcium on the front. It comes down to the tiny K2 on the back that most brands never bother to add. Quick bone check before the next 5. Everything so far has been about where your calcium ends up, but the next one is about whether your body can even absorb it in the first place. And for a lot of people over 60, the answer is almost none. It also points straight at the one rule that separates the calcium that builds bone from the calcium that just passes through you. If you take an acid reducer for heartburn, you especially need to hear this. Number 5, the calcium carbonate bottles for people who cannot absorb them. Here's the one that quietly wastes even a cheap, well-meaning purchase. Most bargain calcium is a form called carbonate, the same stuff in chalk and in antacids. Carbonate needs a bath of strong stomach acid to break apart and absorb. The problem is age. As you get older, your stomach makes less acid, and if you take a heartburn drug like omeprazole or famotidine, you have cut that acid even further. So the carbonate sits there, barely dissolved, and much of it passes straight through you. The better absorbed form is called citrate, which does not need much acid at all. The milligrams on the label were never the issue. What matters is whether your stomach can actually unlock them. And for millions of older adults on acid reducers, a carbonate pill is close to swallowing a pebble. Number 4, the calcium bottles with little or no vitamin D. This is the one that makes the whole pill pointless before it even starts. Calcium cannot get from your gut into your blood without vitamin D opening the door. Without enough D, your body can only grab a fraction of what you swallowed, with studies showing absorption falling by well over half. The plain calcium bottles, the ones with no D or a token amount, are asking your body to use a nutrient it physically cannot let in. You take the pill, you trust the number, and most of it walks right back out. It is not that the calcium is fake. It is that without its key, the door to your bloodstream stays locked, and the calcium never gets the chance to do anything at all. If this is already making you check your own bottle, good. Do that, and hit subscribe while you're at it, because every week we read the labels on the supplements people over 60 actually take. All right, here's where it gets a little ridiculous. Number 3, the fancy coral and oyster-shell bottles charging a premium for the same calcium. Here's the one that preys on the words natural and ancient. Coral calcium, oyster-shell calcium, marine mineral blends. They sound pure and they cost far more, sometimes several times the price of a basic bottle. But underneath the exotic name, it is still mostly calcium carbonate, the same chalk that needs stomach acid you may not have. And now some of these natural sources carry another problem. Calcium from shells and coral has been found to contain traces of lead, which is the last thing you want building up in an aging body. You are paying a premium for a prettier origin story. The body cannot tell the difference between calcium from a lab and calcium from a reef, except when the reef brings lead along for the ride. Number 2, the bottles promising to rebuild bone all by themselves. This is the one that sells a fantasy no single pill can deliver. When a label or an ad promises that calcium alone will reverse bone loss, rebuild density, and fix your osteoporosis, that is the tell. Bone is built by a whole team: calcium, vitamin D, vitamin K2, magnesium, and the weight-bearing movement of your own body. Calcium by itself, with none of its partners and none of the signals, is just raw material with no crew to lay it. The miracle bottle is selling you a finished house while handing you a pile of bricks. So count what the label leaves out. The more a calcium bottle promises to do on its own, the fewer of the partners it actually contains to do any of it. You would think the most expensive, most advanced bone formula would be the one that finally works. The doctors keep pointing people back to a plain drugstore bottle with the right partners. The price on the box was never what reached your skeleton. Number 1, whichever calcium you have taken every single day without ever checking the form, the dose, or what is missing beside it. This is the real waste, and it is the bottle in your own medicine cabinet. The biggest mistake is not one bad brand. It is faith in a bottle you never questioned. It is swallowing a giant calcium carbonate dose every morning with no vitamin K2 to aim it, and maybe no vitamin D to absorb it, while you wonder why your last bone scan did not budge, or worse, why your artery scan went the wrong way. None of it announces itself. The pill looks identical whether it is building your bones or settling in your chest. The difference is not which brand you started with. It is that calcium only helps when your body can absorb it and actually has the partners to steer it into bone. And most of the time, nobody ever checks whether it can. So which calcium supplements are actually worth your money? The honest answer is reassuring, because the right ones are usually sitting cheap on the pharmacy shelf. Quick note, the picks coming up are the ones the research and the doctors actually support, and I will tell you when I have a link below. We read the studies so you do not have to. Number 3, a well-absorbed citrate bottle like Citricol. 3 picks worth keeping, good to best. Let us start with value, because you do not need to spend much. Citricol uses calcium citrate, the form that absorbs even when your stomach acid is low. That matters enormously after 60, or if you take a heartburn drug. It includes vitamin D to open the door, and you can take it with or without food. For most older adults, this is the smart, frugal choice that your body can actually use. Number 2, a complete bone formula with vitamin D and vitamin K. 2, like New Chapter Bone Strength. For people who want the calcium actually steered into bone and away from arteries, look for a formula that pairs calcium with both vitamin D and vitamin K2. New Chapter Bone Strength is one that includes the K2, most brands skip, plus magnesium, the partners that activate the proteins which bind calcium to your skeleton. It is not the cheapest bottle on the shelf. It is one of the few that brings the whole crew, not just the bricks. Number 1, the right form, a modest split dose with vitamin D, vitamin K2, and magnesium together, guaranteed by third-party testing. Here's what actually wins. The best calcium is not the biggest number, it is the most complete and the best aimed. Pick a product that uses citrate or a well-absorbed form that keeps each dose around 500 milligrams rather than one giant tablet, that includes vitamin D to absorb it, vitamin K2 to steer it into bone and out of your arteries, and magnesium to support the whole process, and that carries third-party testing, so you know it is clean of lead. Brands like Citricol and Caltrate cover the basics cheaply, and a complete formula like New Chapter or a quality Nature. Made Bottle covers the rest. The best calcium is not a louder label. It is calcium your body can absorb, with the partners that send it to your bones instead of your heart. So check your bottle for the form, the dose, and whether vitamin K2 is even on the label. Then watch the magnesium investigation on screen now. The mineral most people take wrong is doing less than they think.